If I might have screwed that up, folks. I think I just went live now. I somehow did not go live at first. All right, sorry about that, folks. If you're sitting there wondering what happened, I don't know. I've got some comments. Somebody's probably telling me that I didn't go live. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. If you were sitting there waiting for me, I'm here now. So I'll go back and start over. My bad. I'll have to edit that out because that'll be some dead air. But anyway, welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News. On this, the 14th day of May, 2020, I'm coming to you from Bedford County in Central Virginia, right near Lynchburg. Lovely weather today. It's going to be up in the 70s. Next couple days in the 80s, and a couple days this next week up pushing 90. So we got some really nice weather. If you're new to this channel, and obviously you missed out on my first introduction. So if you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. We regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. My interview show called Chillie Chats, and Travel and Cruise Industry News, which is Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Please hit the subscribe button, and the bell notification will tell you when I go live or when a new video gets posted. A couple things to get out of the way on business. First of all, on Sunday, as many of you know, I co-host the Cruises for Solos show from London with Pete and John on Sundays at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is 8 o'clock London time. And this week, our guest will be Jeff Stevenson, a comedian who's toured with the likes of the Drifters, Johnny Mathis, and Barry Manilow. He's got a lot of acting credits and for years was a comedian on a whole bunch of cruise ships. So really looking forward to that. If you missed our show last Sunday, we had our friend Emma Latisse on, and it was just a fabulous show. And we had literally people in the audience from all over the world. So make sure you join us Sunday afternoon. You'll find links on all of my channels to get you there. The other thing, before we get to the stories of the day, I got to introduce you to, that is Charmin, and that is Cottonelle. Charmin and Cottonelle are the COVID kitties that have now taken over the farm and are living here. I had hoped to have them pop in on the air today, as Brat the Cat used to do, but they are still skittish. They found a nice home in our living room, but they're just kind of afraid to go wandering around to any other rooms in the house. We picked them up and brought them into my room before, and they take off like a bolt of lightning, go back to the living room. So they found a home in there. They're a little skittish yet. So we'll have to wait until they get a little more comfortable with everything to bring them on board and have them appear live on the Travel and Cruise Industry News Show. So, all right, the main story this morning, or the lead story at least, has to deal with Carnival Cruise Line. And the Carnival president made a statement, actually in a letter, that just really caught my eye. Basically, she sent a letter out to all the crew members, which details the current situation on the fleet about the base salary and a base salary that they're going to receive. And in that letter, Christine Duffy, the president of Carnival Cruise Line, said, and I quote, "While we hope to bring back a small number of ships August 1st, that is still very uncertain." Now, I found that to be a little bit shocking that they would actually say that at this point. You know, they've talked about this August the 1st deadline on starting sailing with 8 ships to start crawling into it. Of course, that falls after the July 24th, which is the CDC no sail for 100 days guidelines. Technically, the cruise lines could start if they CDC approves all the stuff for them to get going by August the 1st, but many of us don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, this was a letter to the cruise members, and it tells them how they're getting paid. Those that are home already or in the process of going home. And I'm not going to go into that because that's, quite frankly, that's the business of Carnival and their employees. And there's some 25,000 crew members that are either now at home or still on ships waiting the chance to go home, or 29,000, I guess it is. And but I think it's interesting that she says that that August 1st thing is doubtful. Now, does that surprise me? Not in the least. I've said all along that I didn't think we'd be sailing this summer, possibly not this year. I want you to look at a couple other things, folks, as you're thinking about this, especially those of you that are still thinking that you're going to sail this summer. First, from a lot of the information in the congressional hearings this week from the health professionals, they're talking about the COVID-19 still going on strong in the fall, to the point of where there seems to be a pretty healthy debate right now whether in some areas they'll even be able to get schools open again in this fall. So let's take that a step further. If we're still dealing with the COVID-19 and we're still having new cases popping up every day and the tremendous number of deaths, now obviously the numbers should start going down if we didn't open up too soon in areas, which is going to cause a spike back up. But let's assume the absolute best and the numbers start going down. If we're still dealing with the COVID-19 in the fall and we're still having new cases and deaths going in the fall, to the point that they can't open schools in some areas. Now let's shift away from that to a country like Australia. Australia has virtually 0 new cases now. It's single digits daily in the whole country of new cases. New Zealand, 0 new cases. A place like Grand Cayman, very few new cases. If we still have a problem in this country with the COVID-19, with numbers going up and down and still deaths every day, do you think these companies are going to let a cruise ship with primarily full of American passengers land in their country and us give them a spread of the disease again? It's not going to happen, folks. Now, remember, the cruise ships that sail from the United States have to go somewhere. That's by law. They have to go to another country and land. We've talked about that before. And if we still have problems in this country with COVID-19, they're not going to let cruise ships in. What was it? The International Airline Association this morning said it would be 2023 before international air flight gets back to anywhere near the normals that they have to have. Obviously, international air flights are one of the major factors you got to have for cruise ships to sail. We don't fill a cruise ship up. If we have a cruise ship that sails from Fort Lauderdale, that's not filled up with people from the United States. Yeah, it's filled up with a good number of people from the United States, but there's always a good contingency of Canadians, of Mexicans, folks that fly in from Europe on every cruise ship sailing. So until the air travel is back to normal, that's another reason that we're not going to be able to sail. But as long as we still are dealing with this disease in this country, until that's over with, now, I'm not going to say it's until we get a vaccine and get it spread worldwide. But until we get get a handle on this thing and we get the numbers back like they are in Australia and New Zealand right now, and some of a few other places, there's not going to be cruise ship sailing, folks, and it clearly is not happening this summer. Sorry about that, but it's not. All right, I'll be back with a couple more stories in just a second. Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scootaround. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scootaround for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise. All right, following along with that, Disney Cruise Line is now planning on resuming cruises about July the 28th. That passes the July 24th date of the CDC. And Disney says we're going to be in operation by the 28th, just like Carnival says by the 1st. And I'm telling you, that's not going to happen, but you guys can always hope. Hope and hope and hope. All right. One other thing this morning, Royal Caribbean. Actually, there are two stories on Royal Caribbean. One has to do with a recent called a coffee chat with the Senior Vice President of Sales, Vicky Freed. And on that chat, the special guest was Michael Bailey, who's the president and CEO of Royal Caribbean Cruises. And he said that basically buffets were going to be a thing of the past. He felt sure. Now, that's not a definite yet, but he thinks that's one of the major things that's going to be changing. We've talked about that a bit before, that the buffets are probably going to be a thing of the past, or at least where you pick the food up yourself. It's possible they could still do buffets if the servers served you. But still, if you're going to follow social distancing, the lines in buffets just can't be anymore. And they're going to have to come up with ways of handling that on the cruise ships, as well as spacing of tables and all those things. And it's just not conducive to the buffet atmosphere. So Royal Caribbean is pretty much saying buffets are probably going to be a thing of the past. So that's the first time that somebody has officially said that publicly. The other thing from Royal Caribbean, and this is a sad thing to report, a crew member from Mariner of the Seas is the fourth crew member to die in the past 10 days. I don't have any details on why. The other three we mentioned on Tuesday were suicides, and I do not know any further details on this one, other than it was a crew member on Mariner of the Seas has passed away. So that's terrible news, obviously, for that person and their family, and the Royal Caribbean family as well. So pass that one on, which, that's always never really good news. Before I get to the chats, there is one important thing that I need to point out, folks, before we go see what everybody's saying in the back room today, and that is casinos. Now, casinos around this country are now offering curbside pickup. You call ahead, you make reservations, you drive up to the casino, they come out and take your money right out of the car and walk it into the casino. You don't have to get up, you just drive home, and the casino is very happy. Now, the cruise lines, maybe they need to think about doing that themselves. That you pull right up to the boat and somebody comes out and you just hand the money out for the casino and the cruise ships. Now, that would work out just fine too. So, maybe it'll keep the cruise lines from going broke. All right, let's go back and see some comments this morning. Gretchen and Tom, of course, are with us. News flash, Chillie arrested for hoarding Charmin and Cottonelle. Yeah, that's right. I'm hoarding Charmin and Cottonelle, only not the paper cut. So, Royal Caribbean is still saying June 12th or thereabouts to restart. Not going to happen. Tom says my JetBlue flights look okay at this point. We are to stay a week in the Holiday Inn Resort in Port Canaveral. No word if they will be open yet. As long as you put your mask on, Tom, I think you can definitely still fly to from Richmond to to Orlando, but you do have to be masked. But I think all the airlines are going to go to that now. And it's going to be interesting, quite frankly, folks, to see is that going to happen overall in the cruise industry when we get back to cruising again. So, and they mentioned the technical difficulties. Yeah, I started talking, Tom, and realized that I had never gone live, which was a total brain lock. All right, Emily's with us. Hey, Emily, good morning to you too. She's coming in from New York. I ask how everyone is. Gretchen says they're slowly opening up across the pond. Yeah, some of the European spots are doing rather well with it, and then other spots are doing terrible. But they are starting to get some things open in Europe. Now, whether they're going to get to the point where they can sail this summer or not, I don't know. Keep in mind, folks, all of my comments have to do with the States. I don't follow European cruises that much. All of my stuff in my website and everything else is all the stateside stuff. So yeah, that's where my thinking and my whole thought process is. Tom Henry says he booked 3 cruises last night and they are on hold waiting for PCC to call. I can appreciate that. Gretchen's thinking about a rebook, but she'd like to get on the get her refund first. I can understand that one too. But I think I told you guys the other day, I decided to quit fussing about Norwegian. I don't like what they did or the way they did it, but I did not make their schedule. So I'll keep the credit and not ask for the refund. I am getting refunds back on all my airline stuff. I've processed refunds for that. Refund from Scootaround. I haven't gotten them yet. Although it was nice yesterday, I finally got my income tax return from overpayment on my taxes last year on my capital gains. Finally, it came through. So that was nice having. I actually get to drive to the bank today to deposit the check. It'll be the 3rd time in almost 3 months now that I've been out of the house. So I've got my mask ready to go, and I'll go to the bank here as soon as I finish processing this and get things started. So let's see. The islands off Madagascar are closed until 2023. Wow, Tom, I didn't know that. Emily says so far in New York, they're still in the low hundreds for number of deaths. Yeah, I mean that still sounds absolutely horrible, but that is so much better. And I watch Governor Cuomo on a regular basis. And again, folks, I'm not making any political statement with that. I just like the way the man is handling things, as far as his honesty, I think, to the public, and he seems to be doing things very much non-politically, and I appreciate that. I hate the right and Republicans downing everything left and Democratic and vice versa. I have no patience for either side, which is why I try to stay as non-political as possible, unless it's something that specifically affects the cruise and travel industry, and then I will take a side on that, which has nothing to do other than representing our industry. So. And again, it's not political at all. Tom says buffets gone are fine by me. Avoided them for years. They're too crowded with pushy people. I agree, Tom. The only thing that I over the years have used the buffets for and almost religiously is breakfast. Almost every cruise ship I've been on, I liked the breakfast. I could get my eggs Benedict or a version of eggs Benedict, salmon Benedict, and I mean there's about 10 different ways of doing eggs Benedict, and I could usually always get that, or I could get eggs any way I wanted it, which normally I just got scrambled or junk eggs. I call them scrambled eggs with put a bunch of garbage in them. I like that. They always have, a nice selection of sweet buns and sweet rolls and breads and whatnot in the morning. And there's always, plenty of bacon, sausage, and all the like. I always just like the buffet breakfast. I rarely ever went to a buffet for lunch or dinner. As a matter of fact, I don't recall. Maybe way back, 30 years ago, I went to the buffet for dinner on a cruise, but not recent years. But I did do the buffets, for breakfast. Now I'd usually go to the dining room for at least once a cruise, to sit down and have breakfast. But then I've always been a big follower of dining rooms on cruises, humane dining rooms. I've always been very happy with that. Of course, I go back in the day when that was where the best food was, in the main dining room, before the specialty restaurants. By the way, I'm working on a video that's going to be the next video I post on the Norwegian Encore food. Well, if you go on the Encore, you need to budget some extra money for the food, because their specialty restaurants look fabulous. Now, again, I have not been on the Encore, folks. This is a review type of video. It's not an experience type video. But the specialty restaurants on the Encore look awesome. And again, I'm not a big specialty restaurant guy. Yeah, I got to do sushi, usually at a sushi bar or something. But generally, I'm really happy with the main dining room, the food. And the Encore has 3 main dining rooms, like a lot of the ships do. And I would probably start off with the main dining rooms on the Encore. But boy, I tell you what, some of their specialty restaurants look really nice. I'm surprised. Normally, I pretty much ignore them. So, Gretchen says she sees her governor at 2 p.m. Yes, it's always good. You got to keep up with what's going on until we get through all of this. Pete says, "Good luck in the bank with your mask." Yeah, that's true. I'm going to a bank with a mask on. Oh, that could be dangerous. But yeah, I'm going to do that. Well, actually, I'm going to go to the drive-thru. I'm not going into the bank. So, anyway, that's it for the day, folks. a little bit of silliness, a little bit of seriousness. But that wraps me up for today. I will have at least some excerpts on Saturday from Dr. David Smith of Access Healthcare, and we talk a little bit about when the senior citizens can get out of the house and go back to normal. And I don't see that happening anytime soon, even as we get the economy going in a lot of these places, folks. If you're a senior, if you're like me, I'm in my 70s, whether you've got any significant underlying problems or minor underlying problems, you probably don't want to be out in public taking a chance until we get a good handle on this. But we're going to see what the doctor says. So hopefully I'll have at least to have an excerpt maybe on our show Saturday morning. That would be nice if I can get the editing stuff done. So anyway, that's it for this morning, folks. Glad you're with me. Please keep in mind we appreciate having the thumbs up as always. And if I screwed everybody up at the starting of this show, my apologies, as I just had a total brain lock in getting things started. So that's it for this morning. I will see you guys on Saturday, or if something major happens between now and then. This is the old fat travel guy. Be good and be good to each other, and stay home and stay healthy and stay safe. I'll see you Saturday.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.